Good day! Here are the stories for the Manila Times for Saturday, February 26, 2022, brought to you by Wilkin Depot, the country's leading home improvement and construction supplies retailer. Shop conveniently 24/7 with the Wilkin online store. Just go to shop.wilkin.com.ph. A steep rise in oil and food prices triggered by the war in Ukraine could hit Asian economies hard, with the Philippines among the biggest losers, the Japan-based global investment firm Nomura predicted. Brent crude oil prices, which are now over $100 a barrel, reflect a geopolitical risk from the conflict, it said. Nomura said food prices have already gone up, partly because Russia is one of the world's biggest producers of wheat and corn, but also because of the impact of higher oil prices on transportation, fertilizer, and feedstock costs, and biofuel substitution. The fallout from the war will be deeply felt in Asia, where most nations import oil, and food and energy account for roughly half of emerging market consumption expenditure, it said. President Rodrigo Duterte on Friday said he prefers to stay neutral and not endorse a presidential candidate. In a taped one-on-one interview with Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar, Duterte reiterated that he is not supporting any candidate as his successor unless there is a compelling reason for him to change his mind. Duterte, whose daughter Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio is running for vice president, said if the interest of the people is at stake, he would be forced to give a name. The Associated Press sat down with former Commission on Human Rights Chief Loretta Eta Rosales 36 years after the People Power Revolution. She discusses the human rights abuses that she endured under the martial law administration of then-President Ferdinand Marcos. A fellow of the Octa Research Group has said spikes in COVID-19 cases and the fear of people from exiting the pandemic should be expected as the National Capital Region and other areas in the country are now considering a shift to the most lenient alert level classification. The government is considering the move of the NCR and other areas in the country to de-escalate to alert level 1 in March because of a continued decrease in the number of cases. Octa Senior Research Fellow Dr. Guido David said once Alert Level 1 is imposed in select areas in the country, there could be a gradual increase in the number of cases as a result of increased mobility of people days after the de-escalation. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio will not participate in the debate among vice presidential candidates organized by the Commission on Elections, her spokesman said. Duterte Carpio's spokesman, Cristina Frasco, said the president's daughter has not received any formal invitation from the COMELEC regarding the debate on March 20. The statement contradicts COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez's announcement that out of the 9 candidates for vice president, only Buhay Party List Representative Jose Lito Atienza Jr. declined to attend due to a knee surgery. As this developed, former Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has also not yet confirmed his attendance in the COMELEC-sponsored debate for presidential candidates scheduled on March 19. Topping business, the Philippines, which implemented game-changing reforms to increase the country's competitiveness, should be considered by American companies for investment and trade opportunities. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III and Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez emphasized this point during a virtual economic briefing hosted at the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. on Thursday night. Dominguez said the current Duterte administration signed into law and put in place reforms to improve the Philippines' growth and competitiveness, such as the corporate recovery and tax incentives for enterprises and the amendments to the Retail Trade Liberalization Act. Over to sports. After a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the University Athletic Association of the Philippines will return for season 84 under a bubble setup on March 26. UAAP President Emmanuel Calanog announced the return of the country's premier collegiate league during an online media briefing on Friday. The De La Salle University Green Archers will serve as the host for this season. Antonio Contreras and Dian Macabenta are today's front page columnists. Contreras asks if Batas Pambansa 135 is a phantom law, while Macabenta discusses how elections are influenced by the internet. Today's editorial calls on the United Nations to solve its problems on discrimination. Read a full version on the paper's opinion section or listen to the Voice of the Times. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and keep up with the Times. On behalf of the Manila Times, this is Arik John Seco reporting. Have a safe weekend ahead.